Okay. Uh, Let me know once you see the screen.
We are able to see the screen.
Okay. All right. So yesterday, yeah. So good morning. So yesterday we have discussed on testing techniques, which comes under black box. Our scope is not to discuss on what white box testing techniques. Our scope is to understand what is the black box testing techniques, in which we have discussed in detail about equivalence partitioning, or it is also called as equivalence class partition, ECP or EP. Right? So now we understand whenever right, whenever we have a range kind of inputs, if we have a multiple conditions that inputs, example, password should be of numeric and combination of alphanumeric. So when we have such requirements, and whenever we have to test an input text box which has a range kind of input, right? So we use equivalence class partition. And we saw in that we are going to divide the, the total range, right, as a data classes into three partitions. One is valid, the other two are invalid. So based on the range, we create invalid, valid, and invalid partitions. And we check whether those inputs, whatever we treat it as invalid, the same has been responded in the application, which is under testing. Right? So this will help us in expediting the test cases. You're not going to range the whole range of test cases. You'll only pick up what are valid and invalid. So it is assumed that instead of testing the whole range of inputs, if we test any valid partition, any two invalid partitions, if it is working fine, it is expected that the input box is working fine within the range given by the customer or by the developer. So we have another technique called as boundary value analysis, which is BVA. Another testing technique, the black box testing. So what boundary value analysis says, it is also similar. It is also a subset of equivalence partition. It is also same, but what is the major difference is boundary value analysis. It is also testing the range. Now, now, example, we have a age field which is accepting range 18 to example 75. So boundary value analysis treat this range input in two ways. One, lower bound, to the upper bound, or minimum and maximum. In this case, 18 is the minimum and 75 is the maximum. So for boundary value analysis, these two are the boundaries, which are the 18 and 75 are the boundaries. So what it means is boundary value analysis is a technique which helps the tester to minimize the test case, to minimize the test cases, which will cover the complete functionality. just like ECP. Now, what BVA says, if the lower bound and upper bound, or if the minimum value and maximum value, right, we'll see with one example. If both boundaries, if both the boundaries are working fine, it is assumed that, and also, so we have minimum -1, maximum +1. I'll show you the table how it is going to be. If these boundaries are tested, right, we'll see what are those boundaries. We'll see what are the min and maximum values. If these values are tested, if the input box is accepting those values, it is example. The minimum value is 18, we discussed. It means that the text box should not accept 17. It should accept 18 or more. That is the minimum. So minimum -1 is not acceptable. If the system which is under testing also 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 behaves a similar fashion, then that input box is set to be working fine as per the requirement. Now let's see the, yeah, I just told boundary value analysis is the testing technique and comes under black box. Again, it has two boundaries. This is one boundary, the other one is the different second boundary. This is in different explanation has a different meaning. People call this as a low minimum value. This is the maximum value. Sometimes people call this a lower bound. This is an upper bound, right? So this is an example. If that text box or input text box is accepting values between 0 to 256, as an example, then 0 is said to be then 0 is said to be the minimum and 256 is said to be the maximum. The 0 is said to be the lower boundary, 256 is said to be the upper boundary. It means anything beyond the 0, the input text box should not be accepting. It means minimum -1 should not be accepted. Maximum +1 should not be accepted. And anything between 0 to 256, again, if 0 and 256 is also included, then the 0 and 256 should also be accepted into the input text box. Okay? Having said that, we'll move ahead with the next. This is how the input, right? Input should be categorized. Now, I just told, right? Whenever we have example 0 or 18 to 75, that we have taken example, right? So 18 is the minimum, 75 is the maximum. So minimum -1 is what? 74, sorry, A is 17, and maximum +1 is 75 +1, it is 76. Minimum +1 is the 18 +1, 19. This is the nominal value, which you can take anywhere between the range between 18 to 75. That's up to us. Maximum -1, which is 75 -1. This is how you have to prepare a table. Then once you prepare the table, the minimum -1 should not be accepted. Maximum +1 should not be accepted. See, let's take an example. Now we have a input text box accepting 0, 1 to 1000, right? Now What are the test cases? Then it will come, right? The test data, which is again which accepts the data is 0 to 999, where the input is going to accept 0 to 999. Correct. Now, 1 and 2 are the boundaries. That's what they have given. Obviously, those boundaries should also be accepted. One test case for that. Second test case, between 1 to 1000 means 0 to 999 should be accepted. That is the second test case. That's your second test case on the test data. Third one. Third one is what? Anything. Anything. Right? What is saying? 1000 plus 1 is what? Maximum plus 1 should not be accepted. Anything minimum plus 1 should be accepted. Maximum plus 1 should not be accepted. So let's see one more example that will give you a table. Now, this is how you prepare a table, which will again give you more clear understanding. Now, you prepare invalid and invalid, two columns, one valid. So, what we have written, minimum minus 1. Now, in this case, 21 is the minimum, right? So, my value is 20. Now, here, minimum value. What is the minimum value? 21. Min plus 1 is 22. So we have taken a value, nominal value, anywhere between 21 and 35, might be mid value. Maximum minus 1, 55 minus 1 is 54. What is the maximum value? This 55. Now, whatever is the output of this min, nominal, max minus 1, max value, this all should be accepted because it is coming under valid value. It means this input should be accepted by the input text box. But whatever is min minus 1, whatever is maximum is coming under invalid scenarios. It means this should not be accepted by the input text box. If this behavior is similar when you input this value, if you input 20 and see that input box is accepting, no, it is not accepting. Then it is a invalid. If I input this 21, it is accepting, yes. 22, yes. 35, yes. 54, yes. Same with 56, it's not accepting. Right. It is a right behavior. Now, how many test cases that we are going to write? Now, if ideally, if you want to write the test cases, you have to write from 21 to 55. Almost 30 approximately test cases you are right for each input value. 21 it is accepted, yes. Expected value versus actual success. 22 success. 23 like this. You have to write test cases for positive and negative. But boundary value analysis gives us a technique where if the boundaries are properly tested with min and max, along with min minus 1, along with max plus 1. If the behavior, if these input values are tested, what is there in the valid and invalid, if the behavior is same, then your input text box is working fine. This is how you're going to reduce your number of test cases to get maximum test coverage. Now, what it says, if the range, right, if these boundaries are working fine, and it is clearly assumed that the given input range, given input is properly working, which is accepted by the input box. Now, if we look at the test cases, see here how many test cases? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, and 7. So you only write 7 test cases instead of 30 test cases here. So 30 is somewhere, 27 is, so sorry, 7 and 30. It's almost, it is reduced. You need not to write 23 test cases. So this is how you're going to, it's very simple. I don't even say that is the calculation. It's only a concept that we use in minimizing those test cases. Another example, just want to have a password text box is accepting a minimum of 8 characters and maximum of 14 characters. Minimum of 8 and 3. Now here, what does that mean? Anything lesser than 8, obviously it should not accept. Anything more than 14 should not be accepted. Now you see, there is a partition line that we have created. Anything between this valid partition zone, all these values should be accepted. Anything falling between invalid partition, right? Those values should not be accepted. Now, this both equivalence partition and boundary value analysis both are same in nature. You see, you have divided the input into like a partition. We have done in the boundary value analysis. We have done both ways, right? So it depends on what is the requirement. It depends if you want to test the boundaries, you can go for boundary value analysis. If your requirements are like characters, you'll go for especially go for ECP. And it depends, and it is not a hard code that you wanted to create ECP or take the boundary value analysis. Right now, any doubts so far, guys? Any doubts so far?
No.
No. Vinod, can we give any number for nominal input?
Any number. See, any number between example, if it is 1 to 10,
Okay.
take 5 or 6. Right? It is this hardcore rule that you have to take, particular this only or that only. So nothing to worry. You can take it anywhere.
Okay, Vinod, thank you.
Right. Others, please. Any doubts?
No.
No, Vinod.
Okay.
Vinod.
Okay. So, can you see the PPT? What do you see on the screen? Sharing, right?
Boundary value
Black box test.
analysis.
Boundary value analysis, black box testing techniques.
Okay.
Third example.
So this is another example. This is similar like what we have seen. Just go through it. Let me know if you have any doubts. Any doubts here, guys? It is very, very simple. 20
No,
and 50
No,
are the
Vinod. No.
boundaries, right? Excellent. All right. This is another example. This is another example of 18 to 30 years. We have written invalid, valid, and invalid cases. This is another example. Here boundaries are 48 and 80. So we have written minimum value, maximum value plus 1. Same, similar, everything is similar. Just wanted to showcase you the different examples. Okay. Now, see, the only small difference is that if it is, let's say, 1 to 100, partition does, it will create a partitions between this 1 to 100 range. It will create, right? It will create partitions and it will check the range. Whereas boundary value analysis only concentrate on the edges. Only concentrate on the edges. Because most of the time what happens, the developers might end up throwing an error while writing the code. There might be a less than, greater than confusion. There might be errors at the edges, especially. That is where This boundary value analysis and ECP are very important techniques to find out if there are any errors in those areas. So this
Vinod,
is the major, yeah.
in the before slide, there is nominal value is not given.
It is not mandatory. Yeah. See,
Oh,
that's what I'm saying. It is within the range, definitely it will accept. Correct.
okay.
So you can take it, or you don't take it. That is not at all a problem. But it's the best
It's
practice. So if you example have it, few example doesn't have it. The 30 is
that,
a nominal value.
that is optional, right?
Yeah, that's optional. But if you want to test, you can write it. There is nothing wrong.
Okay, okay,
All right.
okay.
Okay. So this is the high level of what we have covered so far. Right. This is the high level of what we have covered so far, and it gives us a small like understanding. Oh, okay. And clearly ECP validates the inputs based on the invalid and invalid partitions, whereas boundary value analysis will categorize in min plus one, maximum plus one. It considers input data values from range. Again, it the other one, boundary value analysis, defines the boundaries. It has significant in identifying bugs in between the defined equivalence partition. Of course, yes. Inside the partition, if there are any errors, it will be identified. The same with within the boundaries, if there are any issues, it will be identified by the boundary value analysis. ECP can be used at any stage of the testing process, and especially this is used as part of test and negative testing to see if these are any uh, kind of a system breakage or any kind of errors between these boundaries. It is important to identify equivalence class correctly to make effective use of this technique. Of course, so you need to understand what are the range. You need to have a proper data classes defined. Otherwise, you'll end up facing an issue. The same with you have to define the right. You should define the uh, proper boundaries. Okay. So give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry. All right. So any confusion so far, guys? Any confusion so far?
No, Vinod.
No, Vinod.
All good.
No,
Yes.
Vinod.
So everyone.
Yes.
All right. So, so this is very important, guys. Please prepare for the interview. This will be definitely asked. Okay. This definitely people will ask what is BB and what is ECP. Okay. Please prepare thoroughly. So, let's see what is our. Okay. So, there's a small topic. Okay. Generally, we it doesn't need any kind of presentation. Just wanted to share a few discussion points here. So we have a generally we are while working, right? So we have a kind of a reviews. while working. Okay. So reviews, like as the name says, right? As the name says, it is a kind of a checking indirectly, what you can say, right? So in real time, people like developers will do different kind of reviews, tester will do different kind of reviews, manager will do a different kind of reviews, management will do a different kind of reviews. So having said that, so we have reviews which happens regularly in the project. Okay. Now the documentation which is prepared by a developer, it might be HLD, might be LLD, will be reviewed by the development lead or the technical lead. Okay. To see whether the HLD document is properly prepared as per the industry standards, as per the given templates, as per the as per the given the specifications. So as the as the reviewer, whoever reviews the document, right, they should make sure that all the proper standards are mentioned inside the document. So that just comes under informal review. What is called as what is called that as, make a note if possible. That is a informal reviews. Right? Now this is basically done by a developer also, or if a testing team has prepared some document, that document is reviewed by your colleague or your manager or your team lead. That also comes under informal reviews. Second one will be a walkthrough. This is one kind of a checking process, or one kind of a, you can say that this is a review, right? What happens in walkthrough? So someone will take the lead. Example, there is a new functionality being developed by a developer, and developer is giving you a deep dive understanding on what is that functionality, so that you will test the application thoroughly. Now, the person who's actually giving you the understanding, what is that process called as the walkthrough. Now there will be a meeting set up, subject to say stating walkthrough on checkout functionality, walkthrough on payment functionality, walkthrough on search functionality. It means one person will be taking the lead. He will be giving you the overall understanding of what is that particular feature. Okay. So walkthrough is given by the testers to testers, developers to tester, right? But vice versa. So this happens very often in the IT industry, in the projects. It is this kind of reviews. What is a review? Who does it? What is a walkthrough? What happens in walkthrough? These are all interview questions. You need to be very much thorough in understanding this. What kind of review mechanism that we have in the real time. Another one is important, peer review. I keep on discussing this in our classes regularly. PEER review. Peer review. It is nothing but, the testing team prepares the test cases. Test plan is prepared by the manager or the team lead, or a strategy document prepared, or an FRS document is prepared by BA, right? Any document which is prepared, which is reviewed by your colleagues, and see how the document is prepared, right? Make sure if there are any suggestions, the reviewer will give comments that will be incorporated inside the document. This is very simple, very easy to understand, and which happens in the project regularly. Yeah. The last one would be the inspection. As the name says, it is inspection of documents, generally, as we discussed, right? Auditing process. So they will inspect the documents prepared. The inspection team, their auditing team will do an inspection on all the documents, on all the project artifacts. Right? So you need to understand when peer review is conducted, when the inspection is conducted, when walkthrough is given, when informal review is conducted. Okay? Right? Hope you made a note on this. There are four kind of reviews or authenticity. One is informal reviews. Second is walkthrough. Third is peer review. And fourth is inspection. Got it, guys? Any doubts in this area?
No, Vinod.
No, Vinod.
Right. So let's move on to the next topic. Just like- Okay, penning the rules. Right. Okay. So, guys, this topic is generally like bug life cycle we have discussed. We have SDLC. So few topics in the overall manual testing course. Few topics, need to be put it in the resume. These topics has to be inside the resume, right? These are the keywords where generally recruiters will be looking at. Okay, the one we are discussing right now is also one of the important one, and also which should be presented in the resume. Okay, right. So see, we keep on discussing, right? So whenever we talk about testing team, right? Whenever we have any requirement, right? When you go for any job search, whenever you look at the Naukri, uh, job posting, they'll mention we are looking for a tester who is experienced in a particular banking domain. Okay, who are experienced in a insurance domain, who are experienced in a this domain, healthcare domain. So there are other domains. Why they are asking? See, why the tester is the tester, right? What is the difference if he comes from a insurance or if he comes from a healthcare or insurance background or some different background? What does it like difference makes? The experience should matters, right? Why they're specific about domains, right? No, domain is something very important, but it is kind of it comes from the industry only. It is not coming from anywhere else. It's coming from the industry. And when we talk about a software project which is being developed inside the organization, right? It is in line with your industry standards. Industry only. So we will not develop something which is not being used across the industry, not being used by the end users. There is no point, right? Example, if you are developing an application which shows all the insurance policies, all the information about the insurances, customer can make policy online. Customer can claim the policy online, right? Then this comes under what domain? Insurance domain. If a bank approaches, hey, we are opening a new bank in this area, in this place, so we need to have a application. Now this comes under a banking domain. Or a bank is coming back and saying, hey, we wanted to launch our credit cards and we want to make that credit card application online. then customer can apply online, then customer can get the decision online. They can make the payment online. This comes under banking domain. Like vice versa, we have different domains. See, nowadays the domain knowledge plays an important role, guys. If you go for an interview is categorized into different levels. First thing, they'll check about your software testing knowledge. What is regression? What is usability? What is this testing? What is monkey testing? When you apply retesting, what is bug life cycle? What is RPM? Everything will be built. If you're experienced, then they'll ask different questions in terms of testing knowledge. And what is the other area? Other area is a technical knowledge. See, technical, it means as a tester, you should not be having the coding knowledge. As a tester, you will not be having Java knowledge. When I say technical, you should understand project is developing. What are the front-end technologies? What are the back-end technologies? What is the middleware used? If back-end technology used, what kind of database? Whether it is Microsoft SQL, it is SQL Server, or it is MongoDB, or is the Salesforce Hadoop platform? What kind of DB? What is a middleware which is carrying the data from the front end to the back end? Whether it is some kind of integration tool, whether it is a MuleSoft, whether it is IBM App Connect, whether it is a Java web services. What is the middleware? If it is a front end technology, what it is a Java or it is a JavaScript they have used. If they are using, no need of talking about the architecture, no need of talking about the development standards, no. But as a tester, you should know the high level of the technical knowledge. So the third one, the interview categorization is your domain knowledge. Very important. The first one is the software testing knowledge. Second one is the technical knowledge. Third one is the domain knowledge. These three are the important parameters for your interview. If you are good in these three, 90% your interview will be cleared. Along with, of course, I'm not mentioning this, communication skills plays an important role. If you don't have the communication skills, you can't express these three important criteria to the interviewer. Okay. All right. Having said that, the domain knowledge makes an important aspect when you test an application. Correct? How do you think domain knowledge is that important to test an application? Of course, yes.
Yes.
Example, right? Agreed. Now, example, if you want to check an application, right? You don't need a domain knowledge. But if you want to test an application, you need a domain knowledge. Do you agree on this statement?
Yes, I agree.
Yes, we know.
If you want to, right? If you want to check a application, anything, so domain knowledge is not at all important. But if you want to test, then domain knowledge is important. So these both statements are very important. Let me know if you are confused. All right. So I don't see any confusion here. Now, so when we talk about a domain, so there are very important domains. Please make a note of them. If you are also very good. This domain, from whatever I'm telling, out of these three, you should be familiar with minimum three, maximum whatever you can. Minimum three, you should master at least two. Now, the first, as it comes, the serial numbers is the the market is having for this domain a huge market. The testers are being hired on these platforms. The banking and financial sector.
Vinod, your
So,
voice is not
if
clear.
Your Yes, Vinod.
Now it is. How is it?
Now it is okay.
Stuck
Okay.
in your.
Oh, okay. Let me remove this headset. Okay.
Oh, how is my voice? Is that clear?
Yes, Vinod.
Okay.
Yes, Vinod.
All right. Now, as I was mentioning, that you need to be thorough with at least three bank domains. Out of the three, you should master one and be good with two domains. The best is three. Good to have two domains. Mention all this in your resume, but say that you are very much or you are very confident you have experienced in one or two domains for sure. Okay, the first one is banking and financial sector, BFS. People will keep saying BFS, BFS, BFS. It means they're talking about banking and financial sectors. The second one, which is very good in the market and which has a lot of praise, healthcare domain. All healthcare applications, anything related to healthcare, and especially Europe has more projects in terms of healthcare, and US generally less because they don't give out healthcare projects to outside of US. It is very, very critical. The third domain, which is very popular, it is e-commerce domain. So these three domains are very top in the market. Pick up any two applications from internet. One banking, two this healthcare, and three e-commerce, and thoroughly make some important scenarios, test scenarios. You should be able to tell in the banking domain what kind of scenarios have you tested. Then you should be able to tell, make a note of it. From healthcare, make a note of it. From e-commerce, make a note of it. That is where it shows that you are experienced in a domain. Okay. The fourth one is a ERP domain. So there will be applications which are developed under enterprise resource planning, right? So specifically falls under ERP domains. Mobile application testing domain. This is the another area where uh, nowadays the craze is moving towards mobile app testing, mobile application testing, right? The sixth one is the insurance domain, which again has a decent and stable career because like Capgemini, Value Momentum, and Cognizant have most of the insurance domain projects. And trust me, insurance domain is having a very stable career. You will not have too many going project closing down, all of a sudden a project is closed, resources has been removed. These kind of issues you won't find it in an insurance domain. It is a very vast domain because people who have experience in insurance domain, they'll get hired just like that. And insurance domain people have a very stable career. They'll not be having too many firings from the organization because domain experts, especially in insurance domain, are very popular. And the last one, but not the least, we have retail, travel, and hospitality sector, where projects related to this domain are also popular. So there are 7 important domains which you should be aware of. Out of the 7, you should be master at least to 2. I suggest, see, banking domain is very critical. If you tell that you worked in a banking domain, so there will be lot many compliance, a lot many security questions might be asked, right? So I suggest go with healthcare and e-commerce, or healthcare, e-commerce, and insurance. These three are very good. Pick up any websites, and before going, make a note of few scenarios for each domain. That will be helpful, right? Now, what to see people, so why do you think this domain knowledge is very advantage, correct? If the tester has any domain knowledge, right, he should think out of box when the application is tested. And this domain knowledge definitely helps the tester to execute positive as well as the negative test scenarios, right? If the tester has the domain knowledge, he may contribute more towards test cases writing, test cases reviews by comparing the requirements against the test cases. Right? If you don't have a knowledge, can you able to review the test cases? No. If you are coming from insurance background, if your colleague has written the test cases in insurance domain, you will be able to relate. You can suggest him, no, this is not the correct scenario. You have to write this way. You can review the test cases also if you are experienced in the domain. Okay. So domain knowledge always, you know, make sure the testing team is putting the right effort in the right direction. And it will speed up overall the testing process as well as, training the other resources. Right? Example, one person has newly joined, he has barely some insurance knowledge. So if you're having a good knowledge in insurance, you can train your colleague on the important aspects of the insurance domain without again sending him for training to outside or project, spending amount on him to getting trained. You can reduce that project cost. So that's the importance of a domain knowledge, right? So if you have a domain knowledge, definitely it will help you to accommodate any new changes coming into the project. You can suggest, hey, this is not the correct requirement. I'm a domain expert. People, right, in the project team, a domain expert is also called as SME, subject matter expert. SME. You keep hearing this word. Hey, please talk to the SME. It means he is an expert on one particular domain. If it is a developer who is SME, then he is one of the expert in the development area. As a tester, if you are an SME, then it means either you are very good at testing process, either you are very good at the auditing process, or either you are very good at one of the domain where people are asking you to reaching out. Oh, go to the SME. He will clear all your doubts. Okay. So domain experts are also called as SMEs. The client always prefers to talk to domain experts only. Example, if you and I are joining a call, I don't have knowledge about the insurance domain, but you have very good knowledge in insurance domain. We both are attending a client call, and client is discussing about, hey, I'm going to have an insurance application. Please suggest me, how we're going to develop this. So I may not be able to suggest the better options. I may not be able to help the customer, giving him different kinds of scenarios, different kind of application features. But you, coming from an insurance domain expert, you are talking to the client just like you both are known to each other from long time, because that gives you a very confidence in developing that application because you come from an insurance domain expert, right? So please make sure this domain knowledge is very important. It will save lot of training cost to the organization. So that is where you keep seeing, go to any Naukri website, Naukri portal, and search for testing role for 3+, 2+, 5+. You will see that specifically looking at insurance domain, specifically looking at banking domain, specifically looking at this healthcare domain, specifically looking at retail domain. That is the reason people prefer testers with the domain knowledge so that they can take additional role, especially in gathering the requirements. Domain knowledge will definitely help you guys. Along with the BA, you will be the person who will be attending those requirement gathering sessions of SDLC process. And whenever you are a domain expert, trust me, you will be a good asset to the organization and you'll become a professional trainer, right? So you will become, this is one way of scaling up yourself. When you become a domain expert, all the project related questions will be routed to you. You will be a person who will be training all the new resources. You will be the person who will be training the new testing team. Or example, developers need not require to have a the domain knowledge. All they need to have a programming knowledge. You can also train developers on to make them understand the functionality of the application. So the reason why we are spending almost 20, 30, 25 minutes about this domain, because this is so critical for you to prepare in the interview. This is very critical you to do your day-to-day jobs in the testing environment. So without any domain knowledge, you cannot survive, you cannot attend interviews, and no company in this world will take you, you join and will train you. So no company will do that risk. It is a cost to the organization. So always out of 7 that we have discussed the domain, please pick up at least 3, master at least 2. For 2 domains, prepare a lengthy 5 to 10 important scenarios. When you go for the interview, you have to say that this is what this domain I'm experienced with. These are all the scenarios I've tested. So you are very good at domain. You know how to guide the customer in terms of domain knowledge, right? Hope you understand the importance of domain, and I would expect this domain to be represented in the resume that you're going to prepare for the interview. Any doubts, guys, so far? Hope you're not sleeping.
No, Vinod.
Nandana, sorry, go
No.
ahead. I did not see yours.
See, you have told about 7 domains. What is the 5th one? I just missed out. After
See, one
enterprise,
is, I'll just repeat for benefit of everyone. One is banking and financial sector. Second one is healthcare domain. Third one is e-commerce domain. Fourth is ERP domain. Fifth one is mobile application testing domain, mobile application.
so mobile app. Okay.
Yeah. Sixth one is insurance domain. Seventh one is the retail, travel, and hospitality. Okay, so guys, you got the what is a domain and what are important domain, right? Everyone.
Once again, just tell me about informal review. When we start.
Informal review, see, it's basically whenever formal review is something where you set up a meeting, you write an email to someone asking for okay, let's sit and see what kind of document you prepared. So that is a general formal procedure. What is an informal way of doing the work inspection or a walkthrough or a review? You just go there and see. Can you just wanted to see the documentation? Can you show me what documentation you prepared? So randomly going there without any proper procedure and reviewing what kind of documentation they have prepared, whether the documentation is as per the standards. So it might be, see, documentation is generic word. It might be anything with respect to the project. If it is a developer, he'll have HLD document. If it is a tester, he'll have a RTM document. If it is a developer, he's going to prepare the technical design document. He follows the technical design document. Whether the technical design document is prepared as per the company standard is the kind of a review which is made in an informal way. That's it.
Thank you.
Guys, any doubts so far, please? Quickly. Any doubts so far?
No, Vinod.
All right.
No.
So let's move on to the okay. Right. See, how many people drive cars? How many of you have car? I do have car. I have XUV 700. What you guys have? Yes, come on. I'm asking you, do you have a car? Yes or no? If yes, what type of car you have?
No,
My
we
husband.
don't.
Kavita is having BMW. What
No.
car you have, Kavita?
We don't have car.
Nagatulasi?
Yes, Vinod, Honda City.
Honda City. Super. Kavita is hiding. She doesn't want to reveal her our financial story, right, Kavita?
No, we don't have car till now.
Saving money. Okay, Archana,
High rider.
high rider. Okay, super. Sai, your family.
No, we know.
Okay,
At present, no.
Rajlakshmi.
In future, I will buy the car for my family.
After getting a testing job, first buy a car,
Yes,
definitely. Okay,
yes, sir.
right.
No, we don't.
Rajlakshmi.
No, we don't. I don't have
See,
car.
when I'm asking that, it doesn't mean that
After
you should have a car.
after I
I'm just
getting
saying.
job,
Okay. Okay, super. Anita might be having 2 to 3 cars by now.
no, we'll plan in the future. Currently, we are building.
Okay, okay. No, I'm saying Anita G
Yeah,
might be having 2 to 3 cars. How many cars
2
do you
to
have, Anita?
2 to 3.
Cars.
Sorry. Oh, we have got only one car. That too, we got
Everybody
it
got cars
when
only.
almost 12 years back.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, Nandana, you're saying something?
Everybody wants to buy cars after getting a job.
Okay, good. All right. See,
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 I want to
whenever
buy a
we
house which is
want to buy a
registered on
house,
my name.
okay, right. Good, good.
Really, God
Lot of
bless me with a job, then definitely I wanted to buy a house which is registered on my name. I should not depend on anyone. I should have my own house. Nobody can say that get out from your house. I should not live in my life.
definitely. You
That
will get it.
one thing is
Definitely.
there.
Don't worry. You know, the IT job definitely gives you what you want, but again, how you're maintaining is more important.
Working
IT definitely gives it. All right.
till
So thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on the question that I asked. Right now, the reason why I asked you this question, right? So if whenever we have a plan to buy a car, correct? So now when we decide to buy a car, it means we know that car generally have 4 tires, 1 steering, and it has a different shape. Maruti has a different shape. Skoda has a different shape, and every manufacturing industry or every manufacturing car unit comes with a different features, different functionalities. Correct? Right? Now, when we decided that we want to purchase a car, that is anyway we decided to go for it. The same way, so we have a software development life cycle, correct? That we have discussed. Now, how these both are related, sir? Car and SDLC. What is that going on? Now, here, though there are 2 different contexts here, you decided to take a car. You know that there are 4 tires. You know these are the basic functionalities. The same way, SDLC is a kind of a car that you just decided, okay, there is a software development life cycle. Now, what happens in that? There are different stages a software will undergo. At a high level, we know, but what car is it? That is your next requirement, right? Now, first is you decided to go for a car. What is that car? That depends on your specific needs. In other case, we know SDLC process. We know software will go through all these 6 stages, what we have discussed. But what kind of SDLC model that a company will pick up based on the requirement? What car you're going to purchase is based on your requirement. Okay, having said that, 2 different contexts. Now, let's say you have decided there are multiple cars in this world, multiple manufacturing unit, right? There are many car models. Depends on your budget, depends on your number of people, uh, depends on your number of capacity, depends on your traveling mileage. You decide what car you want to go. The same way, we decided to deliver the project. Customer decided to give us a project. and customer understand there is a development life cycle which project will undergo. But what kind of model that the company is going to execute, or what kind of model customer wants, this depends on the need of the customer, right? You decide that this I want a particular Skoda, then you approach the Skoda showroom further discussion. The same way, the customer, based on his requirement, he'll approach to the organization of what kind of model he is expecting inside this development life cycle. Now, let me share the screen. Let me know what you see on the screen now. What do you see, guys?
Cross
You don't see anything?
Browser testing. Importance of
SDLC models.
SDLC models.
Right.
Waterfall.
Now, these are
SDLC
the
models.
SDLC models. Now we know there is a development life cycle. We know we want to purchase a car. We decided, but what kind of car is based on your needs? What kind of execution model? We have two models. We have other models also, but these are very, very important models which regularly happens inside the organization. Now, what is the first model? Waterfall model. What is the second one? Agile model. Okay. First one is waterfall model. Other one is the agile model. So let's talk about what scenario, what is waterfall model first thing. Now we know, see, waterfall model is also kind of a model. There will be different stages. We know we wanted to purchase a car. We know Skoda is also type of a car, but what kind of a car Skoda is, then we go into a deep dive of understanding. The same way, software development life cycle, we understand that is a life cycle. We understand that is a development life cycle. But depends on the customer need, customer will pick up, or we suggest the customer based on the requirement. You approach, right, as a customer, you approach a car showroom and say, hey, I don't have anything in mind. Can you please tell me? Then he'll ask, sir, what is your need? How many people you want to carry? How many people generally sit in the car? Then I say, hey, my family is big. There are 7 to 8 people will be traveling. Sir, then you take this car. Generally, we travel a lot. I need a strong mileage. Oh, then you need take this car. The same way, the customer will talk to us in the IT industry. Whenever the bidding process happens, everything is completed. Our delivery team will talk to the customer. I will understand the requirement. Sir, what is your requirement? What is your budget? When we want this to be delivered, do you know what you need at this stage? Everything is dependent. Then the delivery team will suggest what model, right? It is going to be executed. As a tester, you're not going to be there in this kind of discussions. But as a tester, you should know which model you were working in your previous organization. Did you work in waterfall model? Did you work in agile model? This will be your damn interview question people will ask. There will be very less questions on waterfall model. There will be more questions on agile model, right? But depends on the project. Example, you went for an interview. They got a project which is executed only in waterfall model. Then definitely they'll ask more questions on waterfall model. Have you worked in waterfall model? What is waterfall model? What is the advantages of waterfall model? What is the disadvantages of it? If they have a project in agile, then they will ask, then the interview jobs requirement itself, they mention tester should have very detailed understanding in waterfall model. Tester should have detailed understanding in agile methodology. Tester should understand or worked in an agile environment, right? So if possible, try to look at the Naukri responsibilities or job requirement of a tester. You will get all these points. Okay. Now, having said that, Now we have in SDLC, there are many models, but out of which these are two major important real-time models that are worked every time inside the organization, right? Now, hope you are clear what we are discussing. Guys, hope you're clear.
Yes, Vinod.
Yes, we know.
Yes.
Okay, what are the two models that we're discussing now?
Waterfall.
Waterfall and
model.
agile.
Waterfall again.
Waterfall and
Agile mode.
Agile model.
right. Okay. Now, please, be attentive. These are very important discussions, very important interview question. This is a real-time interview question people will ask for sure. Even if you are not worked in this model, you should be having a knowledge. Right? This was the first model which got introduced inside the market, like inside the industry. Right? This is the first waterfall model. Now, the name itself says waterfall. It means the water will fall from top to bottom, right? Ever seen water going from down to top? Sir, in my village, water goes from down to top, sir. Is that happens?
No, no. From top to
All right. Top to bottom only. It will not go reverse. Right? That is why this model is specifically called as a linear sequential life cycle. It means it follow a sequential steps. Right? So it means as you know, it is also a model. This is also comes under development life cycle. It has a definite phases. Correct? Now this model is very important. Each phase must be completed before the next phase can begin. So when I say this statement, it means let's say there are 6 stages that we'll see now. The stage 1, if it completes, then only it should go for the second stage. Without completing of the first stage, second stage will not start. There also be a no overlapping. It means, let's say the first stage finishes in 10 days. The second stage cannot be started in 6th or 7th day. It has to be completed 10 days. Then only the second stage will start. Okay. Out of these SDLC models, right? This waterfall model is very simplest model, easiest model that software in development or software industry has adopted, right? But due to some limitations, waterfall model is not being used by few projects. That again depends on the project or customer requirement, right? So again, I reiterate this. Waterfall model is a kind of a development process which follows a sequential flow. It means that once any phase, right? It might be any phase. That phase has to be completed. If the development phase should started, it means that the previous designing phase should be started. Correct? So, right now, any doubts so far, guys? What we are discussing right now? Any doubts so far?
No, Vinod.
Okay. Now,
No.
let's move on to this is the waterfall model, right? Please make a note, or if you remember, that's fine. These are the different phases of the waterfall model. Now, what are the different phases? Requirement analysis, system design, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So you can see the arrow marks, correct? Top arrow mark, right? It is pointing out to system design, then it is pointing out to implementation, vice versa. So waterfall model it is a linear sequential model. When I say sequential model, once the requirement phase is completed, then only it will move to the system design phase. Then only it will move to the implementation, vice versa. Okay, that is one important point of a waterfall model. Now, what happens? What happens in the requirement phase, guys? So we all know that all the requirements that needs to be developed will be captured in this requirement gathering phase and will be documented as a called as FRS or any name that you call. Now example, the system design process have started. Now, what is this system design? When I say design, it is a HLD document, LLD document. Preparation has started, right? Now, the middle of HLD document, what happened? Customer has called us and is saying, hey, project team, I know I've given you the requirements. I know you guys have already started the designing work. Can you please, I need some change in the requirement. Instead of 10 requirements, can you add 2 more requirements to this project and you take up this and continue the designing work? Now, in this kind of a situations, waterfall model will not allow any change in middle of whatsoever is the phase. It will not allow any change. The first, if there is a change, then they have to repeat from the beginning of the stage. Again, they have to start requirement analysis stage, which is the time consuming, which is time waste, which is cost effective to the customer. And obviously, IT company will be charging the customer. Definitely, right? Now, we know, I don't want to discuss about this each phase because we already know what happens in designing phase. Implementation is coding phase. Testing phase, there testing happens. Deployment, you know what is deployment happens. What is maintenance, you know it. So let us understand, right? Let us understand, right? So what is the waterfall model importance? And why this called as a waterfall? I just told you, right? Just like a waterfall, all the phases falls from top to bottom. The next phase is only started, right? Once the previous phase is finished. Whatever is the goal that has been defined for that particular phase, right? Once it is achieved, then only it will go to the next phase. Now, as far as the example, as far as the implementation is there, unless and until developer completes the whole coding, the application is not released to the testing team. Here, you will not see the build by build release of the testing application. The whole application will be released to the. That is a major disadvantage of the waterfall model, where one phase goal has to be completed, then only you will go to the next phase of the waterfall model. Now, guys, you are following with me, right?
Yes, Vinod.
Everyone, hello. Yeah, okay.
Yes, Vinod.
So few aspects where when we decide to go for the waterfall model, very important. Very important. Please be attentive here. Whenever we have requirements which are very clear, customer knows that, yes, I want this application to be developed. If the requirements are very clear, if the requirements are fixed, customers say that I will not change the requirements. These are the final requirements. Then only we will go for a waterfall model. Customers say that. My budget is fixed. I cannot go beyond this budget. Then we go for a waterfall model. Customers say that I want this application to be delivered within 1 year. Then we'll go for a waterfall model. It means all the constraints of the project, scope, schedule, and cost, including the requirements. If it is clear and fixed, then we go for a waterfall model. If customer is clear with what he needs, yes, I want that application. This application is going to serve this customers, and this is what I'm planning to do. If he is having a clear vision about the product, then waterfall model is the best one. And he is picking up one technology, and that technology is not dynamic in nature. It means that tomorrow, if there is any market change, right? Now there might be technology changing. Earlier, earlier APIs used to develop by Java resources. Those APIs used to take around 1.5 to 2 months or for 1 month based on the complexity. Java developers used to develop that. But now MuleSoft has came into picture. Now MuleSoft is taking 10 days to develop an API. The customers who already developed the project, right? Now they cannot tell the right, you change my APIs to MuleSoft. I want to reduce the cost. It's already been done and dusted. Correct. Now you cannot change as per the market standards. So if your requirement is like that, if you are not looking for any change, if your requirements are dynamically changing, not changing dynamically, then waterfall is the best model. Right? Now it's sorry. Your ball should always rotating around the requirements. If your requirements are very clear, always waterfall model is the best one. And whenever you have a short project, 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, right? It's always suggest to go for a waterfall model. Okay. And these are a few advantages of waterfall model when we go for a waterfall model, right? So just will reiterate what we have discussed. So waterfall model is very simple and easy to understand, correct? And it is very rigid model, correct? It's very rigid model. When I say rigid, it means it will not allow you to start the next phase unless the first phase is finished. Unless the first goal is completed, it will not allow you to do the next stage. If there is any change in the requirement, if there is any change in the middle of the phases, the project has to start from the beginning. It means all the phases should be processed and completed in a sequence wise. Okay, and every process will have obviously the output. Each phase has a different output. Now, what are the disadvantages of waterfall model? Right? See, the major disadvantage is that you cannot see a product until it is go live. Now, after the maintenance phase only, you'll come to know what project they have developed. Till deployment, as a customer, you'll not see anything. Right? Unlike the other models, the agile one, the whole project is broken down into small pieces. Each piece is shown, given a demo to the customer. He can see the working product in bits and pieces. But in waterfall model, we'll see what is agile. But in waterfall model, the whole project is started in the requirement phase. The whole project is only seen after the maintenance phase. Once it is go live only, you can see, or once before go live only, you can see the working product. Right? Example, after just before the release, customer seeing the demo of the whole project, he say, hey, I want this change, this, I don't like this one, can you replace it? No. The waterfall model will not allow any changes in the middle neither any changes in the last, any changes after start of the development phases. That's very important. Waterfall model is having very high risk and very uncertainty. Till it is customer doesn't even know how the product looks like. He may accept it, he may or not accept it. It's a huge risk, right? Currently, based on this dynamic nature, dynamic requirements, dynamic market standards, this waterfall model is very, very poor, very low standard. It is not matching with the market standards. That is where most of the projects have been not using this waterfall model. Very, very few are used this waterfall model inside the organization. That is where you don't have any control. Please do not worry. You should only work. That's it. You don't have an option to select waterfall and agile. You only join the project. Whatever is a project execution model, you will follow. And 99.9%, you will be working in the other model called as agile model that we'll discuss in detail in the upcoming sessions. Right. So whenever we have frequent changes in the requirement, waterfall model is not the correct model. And importantly, you cannot measure the progress. You don't know where is the product right now, how much product has been developed. Customer is not having any visibility unless and until just before the production, you will show him the overall demo of the project. Then only will come to know, oh, my project is like this. My product is looking like this. So you as a customer, it is difficult for him to measure how much progress is made on the project. Hope you're following, right? Guys?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes, we know.
So this is very, very important model, guys. So what you all see on the screen, right? So waterfall model is very, very important. Try to look around some information on the Google whenever you get time. So whatever I have discussed with you, these are all the important points. And I've given my understanding of what is waterfall model, what are the advantages when we pick up waterfall model. And trust me, again, I want to repeat this. As a tester, you will not have a choice, right? You will not have a choice. But most of the IT industry is following only two. One is waterfall model. The other one is agile model, right? We will have in detail, like what we discussed about waterfall model. You will have much more detailed discussion in agile, which has some kind of a representation. So as a tester, you should understand the different stages of agile, what happens in agile, what is the different teams. So we'll discuss in detail about agile process in next 1 or 2 days. So by this, we'll stop the session. Let me stop the recording.